Hey YouTubers, well, I got another video review. This one is from PROYAMA. This is their backpack blower, and this is the way I received it through Amazon. Alright guys, so this particular model is the PBB-72. It's 3.7 horsepower, so this thing should be pretty powerful. 72 cc. It says the max air volume is 880 CFM, and the motor speed is 7,500 RPM, and the fuel capacity is 1.8 liters. We're going to open it up together. The reason I like the PROYAMA stuff is because you seem to always get a lot for your money, and you know the Chinese are building crazy stuff for cheap nowadays, and this is no exception. Anytime I've ever gotten anything from PROYAMA, they've always sent like extras, you know, with the chainsaws. They give you the gloves, and they give you, you know, the mixing bottles, and they just give you all kinds of extra stuff, extra chains. Where, you know, if you was to buy a steel or a Husqvarna or something like that, you're not getting nothing extra. You're gonna have to pay for everything. So anyways, this is what it looks like. There's that mixing bottle that I was talking about. This is so you can mix your oil. Also, I've got a bunch of pieces right in here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull everything out of the box, but I just wanted to show you that it does have, you know, the bubble wrap, and there's none here on the back, and that's the reason being is because that's where the padding is that goes up against your back. So it's basically padded on all four sides. So I see why they didn't put any padding up against there. So I'm gonna go ahead and unbox it. You know, just my first thoughts on it is it's got a big handle on it right here. Gives you a good point to pick it up, because you know you're gonna be setting this up on stuff, you know, trying to put it on and all that. And then, like I said, there was three sides of the box was padded, but that back part where this was at, it was not padded. And the reason they didn't pad that is because you can see right there. So that's thick foam right in there, and then there's thick padding right up against the back of the unit there, and you can see that that's really thick. So that's going to feel good on your back, and it's going to help keep it nice and comfortable. You've got these adjustment straps here on the top where you can adjust that buckle, and then you've got some adjustment buckles here on the bottom, and then where these little clips hook in, you can see that that's metal reinforced on top of that plastic right there. You got your fuel fill right in there, and they've got this little like mesh cover that fits over this area right behind it. So that's gonna help keep your back cooler, because it's not right up against that motor. I don't know how well you guys can see that or not, but that's all mesh. It's just like a little protective guard right in there, I guess, to just keep some space between the motor and the back of the unit. I would say that it does keep you cooler. And then, you know, when you pull it right out of the box, you can see that you've got your trigger, and then you've got this here. When you push it in, you can push up on this and it locks that throttle, so you don't have to just sit there and squeeze the trigger. It's like a cruise control. So that is pretty nice, so you don't just have to sit there and hold it. Then you've got your on and off switch right in there, and then I like it because it always resets to start. So whenever you want to turn it off, you just hold that down, it cuts it off. But then when you let go, it's already reset back to start. You can see that, you know, they've got this protective guard over the cylinder head and engine there, and then it looks like the air filter is going to be right in here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off, let you guys get a look at that. Okay, you can see there, it just unscrews, and then it's got some little latches right there that it hooks into, and then you've got like just a plastic piece that fits on top of the foam filter element, and that's pretty thick. So you can see there, you know, it's just a regular foam filter element, and then I guess there's some sort of filter right in there. It feels kind of like felt, almost like a filter on a chainsaw, just to keep from, you know, getting debris, real fine debris in there. And then you're gonna have your foam, then you're gonna have this piece that fits down in there like that, and then you're gonna have this piece that's got the two little latches. It kind of hooks right in there, and then start screwing it down. So that part looks pretty good. At least you don't have to buy filters, you can just wash them, and I'm sure the instructions probably say just to coat it after you wash it with soap and water, just to coat it in like a light oil. Everything looks like it's easy to get to. The carburetor is right in here. You know, your fuel lines are easy to get to. You move the pull rope out of the way and you can get to both of those lines right there and do your adjustments if you need to. And then your choke is right here. This is your choke lever. When you push it down, that's choke, and then when you pull up, it says open. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get it put together, so stay tuned. Alright, so it says to take the flex tube. You'll have a big end and a little end. You'll want to take the big end and put the hose clamp on there, the larger hose clamp. And then the way that it goes on there is just like this. You're just going to slide it up on there. And then once you get it in place, then you can secure that hose clamp. And it does come with a little scrunch tool, so you can remove the spark plug. And then if you need to make any kind of adjustments to the clamps, then you can use this to tighten it up. So just going to push it up on there and tighten that hose clamp up. So next you want to put your hose clamp on there. This will be the small one, and then you've got your blower tube with the throttle handle guide right in here. And then you'll want to take and just slide it in just like that. And then once it's slid in, then you can go ahead and tighten that hose clamp up. And I try to keep this hose clamp equal with this one here in the back, so if you have to make adjustments, they're right in line, the screws are, for making that adjustment. And then I'm just going to tighten them down. Alright, so next you've got your throttle, and you're going to want to mount it to this blower tube right here on this little grooved area. And that little groove area is going to fit right up here where my finger is pointing. So you're going to need to loosen the wing nut, and don't lose your flat washer because you're going to need it here in just a second. And what you're going to do is pull that bolt out of there, and then there is some play right in here. This expands out a little bit, and then there is some extra line right in here. So you're going to just take and bend this arm up and kind of push down on it, and when you do, you can easily slide this over that tube. Now there is some little nipples right there sticking out on that tube, so this is where you're going to have to take and expand that, just pulling it apart so it can slide over and clear those nipples. There's one on this side and that side. And then once you pull it over, then you can see right in here, this is where it's going to slide down onto that little raised area. And so you just pull it down, and this is your adjustment. So if you got short arms, then obviously you want it further back. If your arms are longer, then you'll want it further forward. So I'm just going to put mine kind of to the end for now, and I'm going to go ahead and put my bolt and flat washer and wing nut on there. And it's very easy. It's self-explanatory. You'll know which way it goes because there's a little area right there for that head of that bolt to fit into. So it just pushes in like that, and you don't have to sit there and hold that in with a wrench. Alright, so like I told you, PROYAMA always gives you extra stuff, and so here's where it's going to change, and I'm going to show you the two different options that you got. So from here, I could go ahead and put on this round tube, and then go ahead and put this round tube on the end of this, and then I've got a round tube all the way down, like most blowers. And then let's say you want a flat tube where it flattens out here at the end, and it kind of helps push those leaves up off the ground. Well, you can just put this right on the end of there. So it really just gives you a different option of which type of tube that you like, and what's better for you, what's more comfortable for you. These are really nice too, because it's got that curve. It makes it a little bit easier of a contrast. Let's say you got probably some wet leaves that are stuck to the ground. This might help get up underneath them a little bit better from a flatter surface, because they're going to be laying more flat versus just having a round tube on there where you're just shooting kind of down straight at the leaves. So anyways, I probably won't mess with the flat tube today, just because I don't have a lot of wet leaves stuck to the ground here, so I'll probably just run the round tube. So I kind of jumped the gun a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and install the very end tube onto this tube here, and the way that it just installs is you just twist them together, and then you'll have a little screw that tightens up into, and I'm going to show you on this one how this one installs. So what you would want to do is go ahead and loosen this little screw right here, and the reason you want to loosen that so it's not protruding through there. But then next what you want to do is take and line it up like this right here, and then when you turn it, this screw right here on top is going to, you know, be right in line with that inserted metal nut right in there in the bottom. So then you can take and securely tighten this screw down and it won't come apart on you. So anyways, we're just going to push it together. I'm going to rotate it to the right till it clicks, and then now I should be able to, you know, get up underneath here and tighten this little screw down, and there we go. That way it just keeps those pieces from coming apart, even though they probably wouldn't come apart since they fit nice together, since they click real good. I mean, this is just an extra safety, you know, precaution, and you can see that once you tighten those things down, I mean, it just really makes this one unit really strong. So, and then now I can move this back out further because I had to move it back just so you guys could see. And then now I'm gonna tighten this back up, and then I'll probably make my adjustments once I get it put on and everything, you know, when I get it strapped on. Stay tuned. All right guys, so it comes with this little clamp here. I'm not real sure where to put it. I couldn't find it in the directions. Of course, I didn't look real good. It could be hiding in there, but you know, it's a guy thing. We don't always read the directions. But I'm just gonna fit it around this wire here that goes to the throttle, and then I'm just going to take and bend it around this tube here. And I was hoping that would, yeah, that would just kind of hold that wire in place. It could probably fit right there on that tube if you wanted to, maybe, but for now I'm just going to leave it right in there. All right guys, so I'm going to show you how to check the spark plug. This is, like I said, if you've been watching any of my reviews, you know it's just kind of a pet peeve of mine just to pull the spark plug out of there and see what kind of shape the threads are in, see what kind of plug they used. This one here is L7TC. I'm not even sure what brand that is. Victo, never heard of that one. Usually it's an LG or a Torch, but this one here says a Victa L7TC. Anyways, I'll try to cross-reference this to like a Champion plug. That's what I use in all my small engines, but the threads look good on the head right there that it screws into, and then the threads right there on the plug still look good. So I'm going to use it till I get me a Champion put in there. I don't know why I put a Champion in there. If it runs good, just run it, but I like to always have one on hand. But anyways, and then just to show you how easy that was to put on, easy it is to get to. And then right in here you can see this whole thing is like your muffler, and then that right there, that little screen, that is your spark arrestor to keep you from shooting a flame or a spark out the back of that muffler. And you know, let's say later on down the road that thing gets clogged with carbon, then you can take and burn it off with like a little torch or a cigarette lighter, and then put it back in there. So if it ever gets to running sluggish, you can just take those two screws out, pull that flame arrestor out, clean it, and then it should run as good as new. All right guys, so for your gasoline, they recommend 87 or higher. They said you could run ethanol in it. I don't personally recommend running ethanol in any of my small equipment, just because it eats up your fuel lines and, you know, it goes bad really quickly. So if it was me, I would go and find the ethanol free gasoline, and I would put some Stay-Bil in it, and the Stay-Bil can make it last up to 2 years. Ask me how I know. I just cranked 2 generators that had Stay-Bil in them, and they had sat in there for over a year and hadn't been cranked, and they both cranked on the first pull. So as far as the oil, it is a 50-to-1 mixture. Now me personally, for the first time that I run it and break it in, I'm going to put a little bit heavier on the oil, just because, you know, I want to have lubrication in there between all those moving parts, at least for the first time. But after that, it says a 50-to-1 mixture. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and put this thing on me and get it adjusted, and then we're gonna crank everything up and we're just gonna see how it works. So stay tuned, guys. What you want to do is pull the choke lever down to where it sticks out just a little bit, and then right up underneath right in here you can see there's the primer bulb, and it said for the first time push the thing 20 times or until you see gas. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I seen gas. And we'll do it 11, just 11 times. And I was fixing to say, man, 20 times is an awful lot. And then next it says to set the cruise control throttle to half position. So you'll squeeze the trigger, and then you'll set this to about halfway right in there. All right, so now it says to pull the string several times till you hear it pop off. And then as soon as it pops off, then I'm gonna go ahead and lower that cruise control down to low and just see how it idles. And then, you know, go from there. So here we go. It sounded like it popped, so I went ahead and put the choke up in the up position like that. And then now I'm gonna go ahead and try to start it and see if it'll crank. So here we go. So it cranked really easy, and if you're wondering why it was smoking a little bit extra, that was because of me. I put a little extra oil in it, like I said from the very beginning. You know, that first tank full, while it's breaking in, I want to mix it a little bit stronger than the 50-to-1, so I had a little bit, you know, of oil directly into the tank, and didn't measure it because, you know, like I said, first tank full, it'll be all right. It's just a little mixed, a little heavy. And so anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and crank it up, put it on. We're gonna go down to the yard and see if we can blow a few leaves. There's not a whole lot of leaves right now at my house, so we'll just try to do the best we can. Alright, so I just wanted to show you the throttle right in here and how it works. When you mash this down and give it gas, you can set the throttle cruise right in there. You just push it forward and it locks in place. So you don't have to just sit there and hold that trigger. You can just push this forward. And then when you're done and you want to just use the throttle, then you just mash this down with your thumb, and then you're back to the working the throttle with your pointer finger. Now when it's time to turn it off, you just hold this button down. Now if I let go of it, then it'll start back up. Watch. Okay, now if I want to turn it off, I just hold that down till it dies. Now this thing's been hot. I've been using it probably, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, just blowing the little bit of leaves and grass that we've got here in the backyard. But I would say it's pretty warm, and I just wanted to see if my girlfriend could just crank it while videoing at the same time. And let's see if she can do it. I'll try to hold it tight. So there you go. She was able to crank it up with one hand and you know, holding the camera with the other hand, so it don't have any problems starting up. It starts pretty easy. You know, when you go to pull it, you know, it's obviously it's going to be a little hard to pull, just simply because I would say, you know, it's got quite a bit of compression since it's new and all that, but it really does run good. Has a lot of power. I do have an Echo backpack blower. It's not the biggest one that they make. It's probably about the medium mid-grade that they have, and you know, this thing has every bit of the power that the Echo one has. And you know, I used to have a little landscape business, and that's what I used to run, was all the Echo stuff, just because I could buy it at Home Depot, had a 5-year warranty and all that, so that's what I would run. You know, this one is a fraction of the cost. Seems to work good. I've not had any problems out of the PROYAMA stuff, and I've got the chainsaw, I've got the pole saw, and I've got the brush cutter attachment, and you know, I've beat up on it, you know, out here cutting some pretty thick stuff with that chainsaw blade, or the saw blade attachment, and man, it just seems to work good, and it's of good quality to be, you know, as cheap as it is. Anyways, I didn't run through a lot of the things in great detail. I'll take you inside here in just a second and run you through some of the more intricate information before I end the video, but I just wanted to show you guys real quick, you know, that it starts easy, and you know, it's got a good power. That was one thing that I noticed. I know this was not, you know, a real major test for this thing because I don't have a whole lot of leaves, but like I said, this thing's every bit as strong as my Echo backpack blower, and also it's really comfortable compared to some of the backpack blowers I've had. I mean, this thing, it's got, you know, the padding on the shoulders and on the back, so you know, it's really comfortable once you get everything adjusted right. Now let's say you want to add some more length to these and make these a little bit longer. You just pull up on the buckle there and you see it released, and then, you know, to tighten them up, you just pull down on them and cinch down, and you know, get it tighter to where it fits you. Now me, I like mine a little bit loose, so that way I can move my arms, because I'm constantly moving my arms. Gotta say, pretty impressed so far. I can't speak long term on the blower because, you know, I just opened it up and all that, but as far as the other stuff that I've got, you know, like I said, I've not had any problems out of it. So all right, so we're inside now, and I just wanted to give you some of the specifications on this blower. It says that on a 1.8 liter tank, it says that it will last 40 minutes, and the fuel tank capacity is 1800 milliliters or 60.9 ounces. The sound pressure is 72 decibels at 50 feet. And then also one thing I did want to notice is right here on the blower, that is like a vibration reduction system according to them. To be quite honest with you, I didn't even notice. I seen the springs on there, but I didn't even notice any vibration because the back of it's padded so thick that I didn't really notice any excessive vibration. So I guess whatever they've done, it seemed to work, because like I said, I didn't notice anything. And then that little ring that was on there that I didn't know what it was for. I didn't see it in the directions anywhere. I was right. It fit right there. You can see that it does hold that line that goes to the trigger, the throttle line. The weight, I felt like that was important. It weighs like 21 pounds, somewhere in there, like 21, 22 pounds. And yeah, it says right there 26.9 pounds. So I believe that's probably the package and the box and everything. So it's in the low 20s, we'll put it that way. I didn't weigh it. I just didn't think about it in time, and I've already put it up. But anyways, as far as the blower, I was very impressed with it, especially for the amount of power that it had. This one here is $179. I don't think you'll find anything comparable at all to that at Home Depot or Lowe's or any of the big box stores. I think this is really about the best deal you can get on a blower with this kind of power. Like I said, PROYAMA stuff has been really good. I've not had any problems. I've not had anything breaking. You know, just seems to work real good. I guess they know what they're doing as far as when they make this stuff. Again, it's all probably made in China, but you know, don't let that deter you. Now, as far as like the plastic on the blower, on all the PROYAMA stuff, it's probably not as thick as, you know, the plastic that comes on like an Echo or a Steel or a Husqvarna. You know, it feels just a little bit thinner, but there's not that much difference. I've not had any of the plastics break on me, so you know, like I said, it feels a little bit thinner to me. I've not checked it, but like I said, it feels just a little bit thinner. But don't let that deter you as well, because like I said, I've not had any of the plastics come off or break, and lots of padding on the straps. It's easily adjustable, so you know, that part there is really good, because I feel like it's more comfortable than the Echo that I have. Even though the Echo's got some good padding on there, I think that this one has just a little bit more. It felt softer to me, and you know, you are going to get some vibration just from the motor, you know, just from it wanting to twist, you know, when you give it more power. But literally, I didn't feel anything excessive on this blower versus the Echo that I have. So, you know, I think for $179, you're getting a heck of a deal. And, you know, check it out, guys. I am an Amazon affiliate. Don't try to hide it from nobody. If you guys are interested, I appreciate it if you'd use my link. I really don't think there's anybody else out there that has a YouTube video of this product yet. I'll be probably the first. So anyways, I just wanted to give you a good idea of what, you know, you're going to be buying. And like I said, I really appreciate it if you do buy from my link. It doesn't cost you guys any more money to buy from my link rather than just search the product out. You know, I do appreciate you guys watching. If you're interested in what kind of oil and stuff that I use, I'll put it in the description down below. And again, just remember that it is a 50-to-1, but like I said, I always mix mine a little bit stronger with oil for the first tank full. And yes, it'll smoke a little bit, but it'll let you know that it's lubricated. And then also I'll try to put a cross reference for the spark plug down below to like a Champion. Like I said, that's probably what I'll switch it out to. So anyways, appreciate you guys watching. Till next time, see ya.